Hello and welcome to the first vlog in the property development vlog. So I'm I'm getting into property now, and this is going to be the first rental property that I will be acquiring. And I thought what I'll do is I'll just document the whole process, and I'll try and cover as much as possible, but I'll try and especially cover stuff that is probably less discussed in other similar vlogs because there's other ones out there as well. So currently, just registered my company, so I'm going down the route of registering a limited company. Just registered that, so got that registered. Used a formation company, and I would recommend using a formation company. I use a company called Company Formations 247. Pretty cheap. They have different packages. I think I went for like the 60 quid package. There was higher packages, but for what I wanted, that one was fine. And they do all the registration for you. They handle HMRC, they company's house, and some of the basic legal documentation that you require as well. So they do all that, which is nice, and it's a lot quicker. And if you want, and this is one of the points I want to talk about, they can arrange a business bank account as well, because you need a business bank account if you have a limited company. And one of the ones on there is Barclays. They actually do now, because I've raised a company with them before, they do now have other options, some lesser known banks, newer banks that have probably better apps essentially. And I went with Barclays because I've used Barclays before, and then I had a call from Barclays a few times. They kept saying that they can't proceed because they can't find a company on Company's House. Though he had been registered, though I had documentation from Company's House stating he'd been registered, though I could go online on Company's House's website and search for my company. I could log into Company's House and see, the company details that I can see when I log into the company profile. All that was, there. The Barclays just couldn't, for some reason, find it. I ran company formation because Barclays was this was going on for a good week or so, and company formation said Barclays basically the system they use web application to search for it. They don't always find it straight away, so it's their system. They just rang me this morning saying they found it and we're good to proceed. I basically said to them, don't want to proceed anymore because in the meantime, I had a look at Monzo. Monzo does do a business account and they have a free option as well, which is fantastic. The paid option, which is similar price to what a paid one with, well, you have to have it paid with Barclays. I don't think they do a free one. They might do a free year, but not a free account. But yeah, the paid one with Monzo has a lot of cool features in there. For example, you can put certain amount of money aside for tax, so you could just say when money comes in, just split it off. There's a bunch of other stuff that you can do, especially automated stuff. For now, I'm just sticking with the free one just to get the bare minimum going, and that's nice that you can have a free account, so there's not that extra expense, happening, even though you're not making any money yet. Still waiting for the Monzo account. Let me just get a quick update. Business. Nope, it's still verifying business details. That's happening in the background. I'll probably message them in a bit just to see what the latest is because they haven't asked for any more information. They're just verifying business details. I'm guessing they're verifying what they Barclays was verifying, but at least I can do it via the app, and then I'll, instead of having to talk on the phone. I don't mind talking on the phone. It's just I don't want to be disturbed during the day just to ask for 2 3 pieces of information that in my own time, even outside of business hours, I can upload or add to the app. That's a lot better for my schedule. I think for anyone really. The other thing I want to cover in this video is when you register a company, they don't really think too much about this, but they have what's called a SIC code. Let me Google what SIC code stands for. There's something company, I believe. SIC code. SIC codes and standard industrial classification. So it's just a code that classifies generally the overall business operations. So if you have a SIC code for, let's say, software development, and you try and do something like selling sofas, for example, it doesn't match. Obviously, if you had a SIC code for making software, and then you start maybe renting software and then renting it out, or something like that, that's not too different. That's not much of an issue. You can change the SIC code, as I discovered. You just change it on your annual return, which is just a low return that you do on Companies House. I think it costs £13, and that just on there you just state if there's any change to the dates of the for accounting, if there's been any new directors that have been added or gone from the company, and on there you can change the SIC code, but you generally wouldn't change that anyway. But so what I discovered was that you need specific codes. I knew the company, I'd known about this for a good year or so, that the company had to be what's called an SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle, which is a fancy way of saying it needs to be a company set up for property. So you can't use, let's say, a software development company. So if you've got money in there, extra money that you want to invest, you can't just well, something on my webcam. You can't just use that to invest in property through that software development company. You have to put it into a SPV, a company set up dedicated for property, and invest that way. You can move money, between businesses. That's not too much of an issue, but it has to be through a dedicated company. I already knew this, but I didn't know how to do it, and learned it's through SIC codes. There's a bunch of SIC codes, and from what I gathered, the ones that begin 68 are all to do in some capacity to do with property. There's a 4 or 5 main ones that you'll probably come across. These are the ones I chose. So 68100, 68209, 68310, and 68320. For the first one, 68100 is allows your business to buy and sell real estate. So you can buy it, you can sell it, and that would also mean you can buy a property, do it up, sell it, make some money. So it covers that. 68209 and other letting and operating of owned or leased real estate. So that's rentals. So if you buy a property and you rent it out, or if you rent a property and then rent it out, so rent to rent as it's known, you can do that under there. 68310 is real estate agencies. So if you want to do some agency based business, you can do that with that code. With 68320 is management of real estate on a fee or contract basis. So it's kind of like a real estate. So if you are managing other people's property portfolios and they pay you, that would be 68320. So it covers pretty much anything to do with property for the most part. If need be, I can tweak things later on. One thing I wanted to make sure was, I know having the wrong SIC codes can be problematic for one main reason. HMRC companies, they don't really check and care that much, but it's the banks. If they see a wrong SIC code, could potentially not lend to you. So there was that. So I wanted to make sure, and I confirmed it with a couple of brokers, what happens if I have multiple SIC codes that are relevant? Could they penalize me for that? They said they've never in their history known, the broker that I spoke to, the individual, somebody get rejected because they had too many SIC property codes. They said they've known people get rejected because they didn't have an SIC property code. They'll get rejected for that. So as far as I'm aware, again, I'll find out once I get a property that I want, or put an offer down and go through the mortgage process. So yeah, that's the SIC code stuff. And where am I at now? Registered the company, doing stuff with the bank. A few documents for HMRC still left to sort out, and I'm looking at booking some viewings for properties. I emailed a few agents last night to book some viewings, and 2 came back this morning saying the properties have gone. The others have not come back. I'm gonna have a look and contact some more. I'm looking at doing properties that are around about the £120,000 mark. So mid terraces, end terrace, semi-detached, that sort of stuff. my initial plan was to have a flat initially, because another thing that I learned over the last year or so is that, generally speaking, because I want to get into HMOs, it's a lot more money, a lot more work, but a lot more money potentially, is banks generally won't lend to people in property that don't have any property. That want to go for a HMO first. They want you to have a regular rental, at least one or two, and then do HMOs, just so you can. So it's basically proving to them that you are serious about it, because there's more risk with HMOs for them on their side and for you as well. But obviously they care about their bottom line, which is fair enough. So I was going to get a flat first, then do HMOs, and I thought it'd be a great way of adding a flat to the portfolio, especially where the first one can be regular rental anyway. But with all the cladding issues that have come about due to the problems some of the flats in London, apparently from what I've read, there's a bunch of banks, and just in general, lending is pretty tight with flats, even if there's no cladding issues, just because they're scared with the regulations that are happening. Again, it's something that will patch itself up. It'll fix it. It'll fix up, and you go back to normal from this aspect. But for now, I decided, okay, don't want that issue. Then there's all the I need to look more into the management fees and the other fees that you have when you get a flat. The ground fees and whatnot. And some of those fees were quite expensive for some of the flats I saw, and I was like, it just doesn't seem, some of them, worth it to have a flat compared to a house. For example, there are some benefits as well. Certain things are taken care of that you don't have to manage and arrange. But for now, I'd rather concentrate on houses, at least for now. And my overall sort of plan is to get properties for rental income predominantly, and less for capital growth. Forget capital growth in it, that's great as well. And then I'll probably switch to a mid-level approach where it'll be capital growth and good rental yields. But obviously probably not the greatest rental yields or the greatest capital growth, but get a bit of both. And then eventually just predominantly capital growth, because I'll have plenty of money coming in, and you'll just be, rental yield won't be as important. It'll be the capital growth. So that's it. That's basically where I'm at with this. This is the first not development vlog, first property rental vlog, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll be doing more of these as there's more updates. I'm sure there'll be certain times where I'll probably do one or two a week, maybe even one every day, maybe even a couple a day, depending on what's going on. There'll be some periods where it'll be a bit dry. I'm not just gonna create a video regularly just for the sake of creating it, even though nothing's happened. I want to document it properly. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, feel free. There's a Discord group in the link in the description. Feel free to join that and ask there. And as usual, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.